So the topic we have to discuss this morning says shaping tomorrow, the role of technology or within the handshake between the state and the private sector, the collaboration. And we know Lagos State to be a state of collaboration. But before we go deep into this topic, I would just want you to refresh our memory in terms of the place of technology in the theme agenda of the governor of Lagos State, Sir Babajide Sanwo-Olu. The theme agenda, the technology, what's the place of technology in that agenda?
So technology by far underpins a lot of the verticals that we see. When you look at education, when you look at physical planning, when you look at transportation, and interestingly enough, the compare mentioned transportation, and that's one of the areas I think we have been using technology to try and improve the transportation outcomes for Lagosians. So really, technology underpins everything. So let me give a quick example. So in the area of transportation now, if you are a driver in Lagos, right, I'm sure of recent, you might have received a text message with a violation ticket on it. What does that mean? It means that if you did not renew your inspection or your roadworthiness, right, and you passed by an ANPR camera, that's automated number plate recognition camera, right, that camera will take the image of your car, process it at the back end, check whether your inspection is up to date. If it's not, it will text message you a ticket that you have a violation and that you owe 30,000 naira for not renewing your registration. And that is currently happening in Lagos State today. In fact, a friend of mine, his driver, I think didn't renew the registration, drove by the thing, and then when it was time to go and renew the registration, he went to MVA, and they said, no, you can't renew because you have a violation here. I think it was about 60,000 naira. And the guy said, lie, he's not paying it. No way. He's not going to pay. What kind of thievery is that? They said, we didn't thief you. This is what the technology said. We don't need to argue. So what now happened? They now went to the image of the day he passed by that thing with the time stamp. When he saw it and he saw his face, he's like, okay. Where's the POS? You understand? He paid. So, technology removes a lot of the issues that we currently face. I know how many people last month disturbed. You understand? But imagine, we remove boots off the ground and technology does the enforcement. That is the kind of thing we are talking about today. And in the next few weeks, we're actually expanding that to include red light cameras, speed cameras. I'm sure some people have seen some speed cameras on Third Mainland already. And then indiscriminate lane change. You know how in Lagos, somebody enters a road and then they move like 4 lanes. They just indiscriminately change the lanes. That also will become a violation in Lagos State very soon. So technology in itself will help to sanitize so that you can get to where you are going faster. Because the issue is that about 45% of traffic causes are people just not properly driving right. You understand? So by the time you eliminate that, you get to your place 45% faster most of the time. So those are the things we are
Please,
talking about.
can you appreciate Lagos State for what they are doing? And let he who is listening pay attention closely so that you don't fall victim. You will say that you have not been told. You've been warned now.
I'm particularly happy about that one that changes because you know how some downfalls don't enter your front.
Yes.
And very annoying. You know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so moving forward, you are once in the private sector, now in the public sector. And I know why you are in the private sector, private sector, you must have a kind of had this feeling that there's need to have more handshake between the two sectors. At the moment, what's at the drivers or what are the key things we are doing to ensure that that handshake is continuous? So that, because I keep saying that Lagos is a progressive state, and to be progressive means that that handshake has to be strong. But how strengthened is that handshake?
Okay. So, and a good question. Today, the economy of Lagos State in totality is about 81.5% private sector, right? Which means that a smaller amount of the economy is actually public sector. You understand? So you cannot do, the government cannot even do anything without private sector participation. I'll give an example. Over the past 2.5, 3 years, we've been doing a project called the Metro Fiber Project, right? And that entails spreading fiber optic connectivity across the city. We've done about over 2,000 kilometers in Lagos already. Then we've also done over 2,000 kilometers of duct infrastructure, right? Which means that for the likes of, say, MTN, Airtel, they need to go to other areas. They can, instead of digging the ground again, they can just use those ducts that have already been laid to save the infrastructure. That project was a PPP project. You understand? I don't think there is a way I would have had the quantum of funds in my budget to be able to do that project. But where the private sector and the public sector came together and said, okay, you have the funds, we have the policies, let's combine and drive this connectivity. And that in itself has helped tele-density in Lagos State to improve. That's one example of a public-private partnership project. Another example is in driving innovation, right? So the compare mentioned innovation, and I dare say that Lagos State is the one leading innovation in the country. Today, we have a board called the Lagos State Science Research and Innovation Council. That board is made up of private sector, public sector, and academia professionals. The idea is to come together and look at Lagos State as a whole and see what innovative projects can drive innovation outcomes better. And so every say quarter, they have a call out, an innovation call out that says any fund ready innovation, any unique innovation in the city, apply here. You understand? We will fund, we will grant, and sometimes we will invest. So today, Lagos State has invested in a few startup innovations, a few startup companies. And we've also done grants to about 65 startups, right, over the past 36 months. So that in itself is a public-private collaboration, and that's the way it stays. We bring people from the private sector. If people know Kola Enough from Ventures Platform, Tommy Davies, Ikem Dilim from Future Resources, these are private sector people on the board. Even the VC of Unilab. So a diverse array of experts in their field that can bring their expertise to bear to help drive innovation in Lagos. So that's Lagos's philosophy. It's a PPP thing. It will continue. I think it will even strengthen, actually.
So most times when I listen to His Excellency, when it stands to talk about innovation, you've mentioned some of those things using IoT, using AI and blockchain to move the state forward. My question is, in what areas, you mentioned transport, what other areas are we looking at to seeing these emerging technologies being put into use in the states?
So one of the areas that we are looking at is AI, of course. Two things we are doing in AI. Number one, we are looking at the guidelines for responsible AI development. We don't want to do a law yet or a policy because it's still a very developing field. I don't think any jurisdiction in the world, maybe apart from the European Union, that has come out with sort of like AI policies. But as we can see, it's a developing field. What we can do is guidelines on how to drive responsible AI. For instance, it must not spoof people, must not be used for nefarious purposes, cannot imitate or steal people's identities, because that is, sometimes, we can do AI solutions now that can act as if it's you and get access to all your bank accounts and everything. So I think a baseline guideline is required, and that's what we are looking at. I think the federal government is also looking at that with the AI collective that the federal minister set up, where he brought different AI experts together. I think the second thing we are doing is to prepare ourselves for learning model implementation. Any AI model is as good as what it is learning, right? And so today, data in Lagos State is scattered. So we are converging it and subjecting it to learning models so that in the area of assistance or in the area of service delivery to citizens is better. We'll be releasing the new Lagos State Digital Platform next week with AI search. Consequently, it will come with a bot as well, an AI bot to help people say, oh, okay, I want to apply for this. Oh, you can go here, you can do this. I can help you fill out the forms. I can do that and this. So those are some of the things we are doing in Lagos State. So AI, I think, is very important. It seems it would revolutionize a lot of what we are doing. And then in innovation as well, that's the third thing. We are funding a lot of AI projects. So we funded this project in Unilag that is using convolutional neural networks to read MRI scans, right? So that diagnosis of issues can be faster, right? Can help doctors diagnose faster and all of that. So yeah, so these things, they'll take time, but we're on them really.
So as we try to round up this conversation, because it's a fireside, not a panel session. So let's go, because of the young people who are here, let's go back to the Silicon Yaba. That project or that concept, where are we at the moment?
So, you mentioned earlier that public-private partnership is a very important thing for Lagos. So where we are with that project is we want a private sector off-taker, right? Government, we tried to develop it on our own before, but as we all know, and in my opinion too, government is not the best to run businesses, right? And we need to find a proper private sector partner to kind of off-take that project. And we visited somewhere in Israel a few years ago called Beersheba, right? And we went to a place called Gaviam. Gaviam is, they run an industrial technology hub. They're a private sector company, but they have partnerships with the IDF, that's the Israeli Defense Forces, right? And they run different labs and things there. So that's the model that we are looking at. We want it to be 90% or 100% actually run by the private sector. We as government will just be a shareholder. So it's the formulation of that structure that we are on now. We recently identified a partner that we think we can work with. Very soon, hopefully, we'll sign and then develop. They already have their funds. They're already planning to build there. So once we sign on the dotted line, then you will start seeing buildings mushroom there.
Please, can you appreciate the Honorable Commissioner once again and Lagos State for what they are doing? To round up this conversation, the message you are sending to the young people out there and also the businesses out there about Lagos State's preparedness for more handshake with operators.
Absolutely. And for the young people here, I think sometime next year, we will start with a call out for innovation. So if you have a very bright, innovative idea that nobody has done, you understand, apply to us. We will try and help you bring it to prime time. Now, let me give you the site. The site is lasric.lagosstate.gov.ng. That's lasric.lagosstate.gov.ng. You can look through the site. You'll see some of the people we funded. It might be companies that you know already. And please make sure that you do your homework though. Make sure that it's a unique idea. It can scale. It can solve people's problems. and we'll be able to help you. So that's a message to the young ones, and of course private sector partners. We are ready to partner, but please let's make sure we do our homework. I get a lot of ideas sometimes. I'm like, it's not fully researched, it's not fully prepared, it's not ready for prime time. But every now and then you see a really, really good idea that you can really partner with, and we are open. That's my message.
Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner. I would not like to go without saying something about .ng domain name. The concept of .ng domain name. Like Lagos State is compliant. I want to know how you feel about .ng domain name.
Yeah, even the site I just gave you is .ng.
Yes.
It's .gov.ng, right? So we are very NG compliant.
Thank you.
Understand?
Thank you. That's
and we will
even
increase it.
Thank you so much.